we knew this day was coming, and if you've been paying attention to the news at all, you probably saw these headlines when they broke yesterday, which is that the USDA has approved first ever cell-cultured meat for human consumption for the American market. And so as goes the United States on this, so goes much of Europe and other countries. It will follow very soon, if it hasn't already. The cell-cultured meat is chicken, which is an odd choice, I think, because while Americans certainly eat more chicken than almost anything else when it comes to at least animal protein sources, their sort of major target for replacing in the animal agriculture system is beef. They want to replace beef with cell-cultured meat. And they want to do this, they say, for environmental reasons. They say they want to do this for health reasons. But really, it's centralization purposes. Because nobody can tell you with a straight face that processed foods have a lower carbon footprint than animal agriculture. They can't tell you that with a straight face. They try, but it's on its face absurd. The energy required to produce these things, the transportation of the raw materials, the production of the raw materials that go into the cell culturing. I mean, it's on its face, it's absurd to claim that this is going to have a lower carbon footprint than anything else. And that's assuming you even buy their whole reasoning anyway, and the scientific debates, all of it. This is about centralization, and this is about profit. The processed food companies will make a ton of money off of this, even if that means reducing the American ranching system to something that only the elites have access to. That's what this is about. I know people will be like, oh, that's very political, Anthony, for a carnivore video. It is, and it's time for people to wake up and smell what's really going on here, because this is at the core of everything. Is the processed food combines can make a lot more money by growing their meat inside their factories and selling it to you, and not having to worry about the ranchers and what happens if they start selling directly to customers and all sorts of other things. Because there is two competing food systems out there right now. One of them is the direct-to-consumer beef production, which is exploding in the marketplace. We've all seen this. I mean, it seems like every other month a new beef producer direct-to-market buys advertisements on YouTube and elsewhere on the internet, or sponsors, carnivore channels or very mainstream political channels to say, hey, look, this is our thing. Good Ranchers is one, if you've seen them. They're not sponsoring this video, but they seem to be the latest one that I've seen. We all have heard of Butcher Box and things. That sector is growing enormously. It's even growing enormously on the local level. A lot of farmers are figuring out that they can just raise cattle and sell directly to customers. They'll make a lot more money doing that for premium quality beef. Let's take a look at one such article, though, on this. This is from ABC News. So mainstream, allegedly neutral news source. And their headline is very similar to what I said earlier. USDA approves first ever cell-cultivated meat for 2 American manufacturers. Upside will cultivate and sell chicken grown from animal cells and bioreactors. I don't know about you, but I don't know. I don't think I want to eat anything that came from a bioreactor. That just sounds just awful. Like, it sounds dystopian. But then again, I'm an old-fashioned guy. I believe our food should come from the land, and that it should come from our local communities as much as humanly possible. There's no place on earth, I think, that you can't grow beef or lamb to some degree. Maybe there's a few places, maybe the extreme high desert, the Gobi Desert. You can't, raise cattle, maybe. But otherwise, everybody should have access to locally grown food if they want it. Let's take a look at the basic information from this article, though. Quote, after years of research and rigorous testing, cell-cultivated meat will officially become part of the U.S. food system. Emeryville, California-based manufacturer Upside Foods, which gave ABC News a look inside its facilities earlier this year, and Good Meat, a cultivated meat division of the plant-based egg substitute food company Eat Just, are the first U.S. Department of Agriculture-approved cell-cultivated chicken meat producer, has been fully approved by the U.S. government for commercial sales nationwide. The food and agriculture manufacturing industry has hailed this as a historic moment after years of investment in Upside Foods from Bill Gates, Richard Branson, and Whole Foods founder John Mackey, as scientists tout the lab-cultivated meat as a possible solution for the thermometer problem, inhumane treatment of animals, and growing hunger. Good Meat, which previously won multiple regulatory approvals to sell its chicken in Singapore, will begin production for the American market in the launch with restaurateur and chef partner Jose Andres. End quote. Okay, got a bunch of big-name billionaires backing them, and they've got a high-profile professional celebrity chef who's going to be the spokesman for them. I'm wondering, do you think people will buy this stuff? Are you going to line up to buy cell-cultivated meat? I have seen enough carnivores in the carnivore space who are surprisingly open to it because it's still technically an animal product. And I guess this really goes down to, the division on this goes down to not just the clean carnivore, or strict carnivore, or lion diet divisions that you see, but really sort of the underlying philosophy of it. Are you purely eating only animal products because it's better for you? If the answer is yes, then I suspect will be more open to this stuff, especially once it's been on the market. But for those of you who are doing it for more also just sort of almost metaphysical reasons and philosophical reasons, that you know, if you identify as a carnivore tribe, and there's sort of a mental sort of thing that goes with being a carnivore, living more in harmony with nature and with how you believe human beings evolved or whatever, if you're more in line with there, you probably are going to want to just pass on this stuff. And there's a lot of voices on both sides of that, people I respect greatly on both sides of that. So I'm curious, will you eat this stuff? I expect to see this on the grocery store shelves in 2024 or 2025. It won't take long for them to cultivate this. And I suspect they're going to be producing this at scale to compete with grocery store chicken, with Tyson and whatever your Walmart and Safeway chicken is. So will you trust this stuff? I personally am not going to. I don't think processed foods, no matter how clean they are a good idea to consume as anything but once in a great while sort of treat if you are on the standard American diet. And if you're on carnivore, there should be no processed foods that you're eating, unless you're doing a very dirty carnivore where you're eating meat sticks or something. But beyond that, processed foods are not something I can endorse. And this is just a processed food. And I don't see how this is good for you, and it will not surprise me if it turns out that this stuff is really, really horrible for people, as some scientists are already whispering. So let me know in the comments, will you try this stuff? Very curious. We can respectfully agree to disagree if you do, and if you don't agree with me on this, but I'm curious what your reasoning is. So let me know in the comments, please. And like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. Just sharing this on social media. That helps a lot too. I'm Anthony Stine, the Practical Carnivore. Thanks for your time.